All right. I'm here with Michael Cragholm. He's a Marine, Black Belt, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And more importantly, he's the inventor and creator of Grapplapp. So, Michael, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So just kind of, I want to share with everybody, I don't know how we got connected, but I'm super glad we did. With Tacon 1, it's exploded this year. It's gone crazy. And I have days where I sit around and, I start to feel sorry for myself, and I'm like, man, I'm going to lay in bed and I'm not going to do anything today. And then I see what you're up to, and you're just constantly grinding, man. So, and I'm like, dang it, I don't have an excuse. I need to get up, get my butt back to work, man. So, you're an inspiration to me. I look up to you. I can't say enough about, how you inspire me, and I don't know how you do it. You get up every day, you're up early, and you're grinding 24 hours a day, it seems like. So we'll dig into it. But so you were a Marine officer?
I was for 20 years and 16 days.
Wow. So, obviously, tough career, retired out, I assume?
Yeah, it was, the Marine Corps experience was similar to a lot of others. It was full of extraordinary highs and extraordinary lows. And, hey, the big green weenie's a real thing. Everybody gets it at one point in time. I just happen to get it a lot. A lot. Cool thing is I had I had some dudes that were really awesome. And if you're a GMFer in the Corps and something happens, people will throw you a lifeline. But the thing about the Marine Corps is that, like, if you're just if you're selfish to the Corps, people will watch you drown, and they will like smoke a cigarette while you freaking burn, and
Right.
It's right. And so I had some seriously awesome people that looked out for me, and it inspired me to look out for others that couldn't be looked out for. And so that's kind of, why I enjoy teaching, children on the spectrum jiu-jitsu so much, right? It's just become this new source of fulfillment in my life that I had never experienced. So, 20 years, 16 days as a Marine officer. I was in all 4 Marine divisions, deployed with them all. So it was 3.5, 2.9, 3.23. I was briefly in 3.3, got sick, got better, 1.3, deployed with them. And so it was just a great experience all around. I'm using a lot of that fire that I believe I was kind of like not really allowed to express in entrepreneurship. And that's why I love it so much.
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, and then, so in the Marine Corps, is that where you started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or was it when you got out?
It was. In college, I was training Muay Thai at a local place in Sacramento when I went to UC Davis, and I was exposed to jiu-jitsu early, never got too into it. And then when I went to, it was then Throwdown, which is now Victory MMA and Fitness, I met some guys that were extraordinarily talented in jiu-jitsu, and I thought I could, strike them up, piece them up. And like this CPA, like tied me into a pretzel, and like he just took me down, and I was like, I didn't know what to do, and I was hooked, right? Because my ego, of course, was freaking shattered. I think it was like right after the Battle of Fallujah, and it was perfect because one of my old-time friends in the Corps had told me before, look at using jiu-jitsu as the martial art of your choice, because I had wanted to train for a while because of an experience that I had in the Battle of Fallujah, where I was really close to a dude, and we were I was going to grab him. He was right around the corner, and then I had a corporal go around the corner and drop the guy. So for me, jiu-jitsu was like right there, and then having that dude piece me up and then take me down and tie me into a pretzel was like, all right, that's it. So I just started training in the Marine Corps, and it's a really good in for officers with their enlisted Marines, because as long as you don't lie to them, if you just get on the mat and throw down with them, and even if they beat your ass, like, they'll be like, all right, you're pretty cool. They'll give you a pass when formation is freaking 30 minutes late, But if you're that officer that's not like, they understand if you don't want to run, right? But if you don't want to scrap, it's like, it's a tough one.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, so I kind of had a similar experience. You know, I've always been kind of a bigger guy, so like the boxing and kickboxing and stuff, like I always had that mentality, like, oh yeah, you'll never take me to the ground. You know, and actually, when I got out of the Marine Corps and I was in law enforcement, there was a sergeant who, at the time, he was one of the DT instructors, and I think he was a purple belt at the time, and he just messed all of us up. And that day, I was like, yeah, never again, man. And signed up for a gym, and I kept going, and
Nice,
you know,
dude.
but yeah, jiu-jitsu, man, like, and especially law enforcement and the security world, it's so important. You know, as much as you want to argue it, most of your fights are going to end up on the ground,
Right.
and you better be able to survive at
Right.
minimum, you know? So, and I see, you know, you doing the mobile jiu-jitsu, which is genius. That's
Thanks, bro.
awesome.
Thanks.
Like, you literally are eliminating the excuse. Like, oh, I can't make it to the gym today. That's all right. We'll come to you. Like,
That's right, man.
so
Calling people out.
yeah, exactly. That's hey, no big deal. I'll be there in 30 minutes, you know? So, how did that get started?
That's basically it, is that for years I've had friends that would have wanted to train, but it was an excuse, you know, I can't, at one, I don't want to get bodied by some 19-year-old in between wrestling seasons. And two, I can't justify going to a gym 20 miles away in the opposite direction from my house after work to go wrestle with men in sweaty pajamas while my wife's on her 14th hour with kids. Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that, you know. And for anybody that doesn't get that, it doesn't work like that. What happened was, when I retired from the Marine Corps, I was applying for some jobs around here. I did a skill bridge, which was great. Realized I didn't want to go into real estate. And then I applied for some jobs here in the Space Coast of Melbourne Beach, Florida, where we currently live, where I retired to. And I had some local dads that were asking me if I could go train them at their house. And I was like, absolutely. Because, you know, I was a black belt. And at the time, my wife, she got a job just for fun to meet some people. So I ended up taking the kids to school and kind of doing the commingling. It was really fun. It was great because I got to meet a lot of some similar dads. And then another tatted out dad, he was a ranger. He's a purple belt. He's like, hey man, just, you know, come to my house and show me a couple things. Like, there's a couple brown belts in my school that are just always just giving me problems. And I was like, yeah, man, let's just roll and I'll put some stuff out there and see, you know, if it's good. And we go to his house, into his garage. It was a Florida summer. And during COVID, I got these mats from my neighbor, AK Athletic Mats, athletic equipment. And so I just take 2 8x8s, I roll them up, they're super light, and I, you know, throw them in my truck. And then I have wrestling mat tape, and some Lysol mat wipes. That's all you need. I get my camera, my stand, right? And so we're like rolling my mats up, and I'm throwing them into my Yukon. And he's like grabbing a beer from his Aloha fridge, right, in the garage, his Florida fridge. And he's like, dude, I'm about to get into my shower like 10 feet away. I just had this black belt Fallujah Marine show me this new stuff. He's like, you might be onto something. And because he knew, like, I had just gotten also like my 54th AI rejection letter from a job that I was like wildly qualified for, you know, like that day. And I was just like, huh. And then as I shut the Yukon, I looked at myself and I said, Space Coast Mobile Jiu-Jitsu. But went home, jumped on the Department of State website, got myself a freaking EIN, and then looked up Space Coast Insurance Agency, called Debbie, and she found me a great quote from Next, got it, put up a reel, and then I tagged some of my military buddies like Dave Correa, military millionaire. He's tremendously supportive. I was one of his OICs once, and a couple of the guys in, you know, there's a couple crew of military people that I know well through the military and then also through jiu-jitsu. And they just kind of put it out there, and people responded very well. It was very much okay, I'm answering a problem, right? That actually exists. And I just said, Space Coast Mobile Jiu-Jitsu, the dojo that comes to you. And I put it out there. Phone started to ring. Got some clients, I called them, because, it was a real one-on-one thing. You're going to somebody's home and you're teaching them martial arts, right? And I can understand people's apprehension. So part of it was really just putting myself out there and using social media, something that I had done, personally, to just be myself. And it worked, right? People were like, all right, this dude's pretty real. And then I just looked at ways of adding continuous value to everything. I record it and I put everything in a Google Suite folder for them. And then I give it to access to them and clip videos and just kind of make it fun and, get families involved. And we do free seminars and open mats, and I'm really cool with all the instructors around town. Like, that was something I was worried about, is getting freaking, be like, who is this dude? And of course that happened, but I'd already met several of the gym owners around town, just kind of like bouncing around for a few months. And they were all really cool. And they knew, like, I didn't want to be just another black belt fighting for a position as a, first, second, third black belt in the school. It's like, 47, I need to make some money too. And like, why not leverage my Jiu-Jitsu Black Belt, which is damn near a PhD in violence, and so to make some money.
So you started out Muay Thai and doing other martial arts. What's your opinion on Jiu-Jitsu now? Do you think it's the superior martial art? Or do you think it's good to have a blend or a mix?
I'm a mixed martial artist, at heart, because I love hand fighting. I love Jeet Kune Do. I'm a big proponent of, you're here, and it's really hard to get flash knockout when all you got to do is like block, like a little deflection and stuff like that. I really believe in hand fighting and getting it in all this stuff. So for me, wrestling is like, to me, the base. So if I really look back, I wasn't a wrestler, played a lot of football, and I played rugby in high school and college. So that helped out quite a bit, right? Because I understood leverage, getting low, in rugby, that's critical. You got, or you're going to get trucked. So all that kind of stuff goes into, I do believe that when you add simple things like lapel chokes, or even like this shirt, right? Like the Gracies have a whole seminar with just t-shirts, like you can cut the carotid artery off with a t-shirt, and so that's why I really I think, yeah, man, jiu-jitsu and wrestling, like that's such a, yes, because I'm a jiu-jitsu instructor, it's the supreme martial art.
I don't know, man. I just, we teach self-defense, and a lot of our curriculum is jiu-jitsu. A lot of, control, a lot of escapes, obviously, in a self-defense, your best defense is running away if you can. Or, if somebody is holding you down, you need to know how to escape and get out of it and get away. So there's a lot of jiu-jitsu in our curriculum, and but there's also a lot of strikes too. Strikes can be defensive if need be. Yep. I find it, it's hard, because I know jiu-jitsu is like, when people see it and they've never experienced it before, it's like black magic, man. Like, they're just amazed, like, wait, how did that just happen? Like, how am I not able to breathe right now? I was just doing perfectly fine.
It's a Rubik's Cube of killing.
Exactly. So, but the strikes are important. There's a time to dirty it up too, and it's not all about jiu-jitsu, which can be a pretty safe martial art if done correctly, right? I mean,
look at Hoist in the first UFCs, right? Like, it was hands out, kick knees, like John Jones. He's like, bang, take somebody's knee out, close the distance, don't get knocked out. Like, that's one of the very first things that I teach dads. It's called the don't get slept in front of your family starter pack. And right? Don't get knocked out. You can get hit. You can get kicked. You just can't get knocked out, right? Because if you're freaking face down, you ain't freaking helping your wife and kids out. So we go through that whole thing. But yes, I am a proponent of, you're right, man. I'm a bitch. My bad. I'm a bitch. You know, usually it doesn't get to that point. Like, guys, I wouldn't look at you and think, I want to fight that guy, right? But sometimes people get stupid. The cool part about Florida, people, they tend to not run their mouth as much because they don't know who's 67 years old, strapped and on his third day of a fucking bender, and his girlfriend just left him, you know? So.
Well, and that's the thing, man, is like people in your younger years too, you don't realize how dangerous street fights are, but you have no idea who you're messing with sometimes, you know. There's, you know, with the same sergeant who was the big jiu-jitsu guy in law enforcement when I started, he would always point that out. Like, you know, you make a traffic stop on a car and they got a jiu-jitsu sticker on their car. Maybe you talk to them a little different, you know, you know, like, or the hoodies, jiu-jitsu hoodies and shirts and things, you know, pay attention to that kind of stuff. Or you see a guy walking around with cauliflower ear. Maybe he knows what he's doing. You probably don't want to fight that guy. So.
Totally. That's so funny. And you can tell sometimes there's that wrestler's walk, you know, and they kind of do that. Oh my gosh, there's a movie with Mark Ruffalo and Channing Tatum. It was, something about Dreamcatchers, yeah, Foxcatchers or something. And they have the wrestlers walk down perfectly, right? Dean Lister has it, like that overgrown, and you have this like muscle in there that, what's his name, Lorrat had, Devin Lorrat, and it's like freaking, it's just from doing so much of this, right?
Yeah.
And then, and it's just so much stress. That's why collar chokes, Ezekiel chokes early in jiu-jitsu, you have to be careful with them in the gi because they put so much stress on your elbows. I mean, I've got some real bad tendonitis over time. Good thing is that my jiu-jitsu Sensei Paulo Gilbert, who gave me my black belt, he was instrumental in really helping me become go from brown to black, that full jiu-jitsu fighter. And it really took my game to not just like choking and living, you know what, out of people, to actually positioning myself, getting plays, and then not having to use total brute strength through everything and be a real black belt, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm gonna make a shout out to two black belts, Oren Lancaster and Eric Brazil. They're both black belts. Carlson Gracie Kingman, but they're I don't know what it is, man. Like I would walk into the gym and I would just talk crap to them and let them beat the crap out of me. And that helped me learn more than anything, I think, because, you know, I had the Marine attitude when I'd walk in there and just like, oh yeah, you're not getting me today. I don't care what color your belt is. And they're just like, okay, buddy, let's get on the mat, you know? And
dude, that's crazy. And I love that. Like the school that I was at, Paulo Gilbert had so many Marines go through his academy. And so all the dudes that were in there that were like the black belt that have been there for a long time, they know the deal, you know, of 2 years to 3 years, usually get the belt, maybe 2. But that Marines are Marines, and we don't have 50%, right? You just go. And so that's really, you know, the level of jiu-jitsu, at least at Paulo's place, where I trained, the black belts were, I mean, even now looking like if I ever went there, I'd be like still in awe because they're just, they're tremendous.
Well, there's that turning point, I think, you know, and I mean, I'm not black belt by any means, but when it kind of just clicks and you start to realize, oh, I don't need to kill myself on the mat every 5-minute round. No, there's a time to float and a time to relax and breathe and think through it. It's like chess, you know? So
it is. That's what I told my older brother a long time ago. And he's just started jiu-jitsu at 49 and he just got his blue belt. So to my brother, Kevin, shout out on getting your blue belt, La Miranda Jiu-Jitsu in Lafayette or Pleasant Hill or somewhere around there. But Kurt Osiander's one of the instructors there, and that's where he does all of his move of the week YouTube videos. And Adam Warzinski was just there doing a seminar. Their coach John's awesome. I got to roll with him when I went back to California last time, and so big shout out to those dudes.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Blue belt sucks, man. That's like you got something to prove now because your belt's not white, but you still get your butt kicked every day. So
yep, pretty much. My older brother took a very cerebral approach to it. For like a lot of his white belts, he actually studied. He works for the Federal Reserve, and he does really well, and he's a very smart cat. And he took, for me, I want to get this message out, is for that the older intellectual people that want to get into jiu-jitsu, he is almost a case study on studying it from YouTube, Sensei YouTube, right? And really kind of doing things on his own, because the first time I ever rolled with him, I literally kind of got mad. I was like, you've been lying to me. You've rolled plenty. And he's like, no. And I'm like, how did you know to put your hand there? And he's like, well, Gordon Ryan has a video. And I was like, of course he does. I was like, yeah, of course, and so for me, it was like, oh, and that sped up a lot of that like injury prone period where you get, we don't do this in mobile jiu-jitsu, but like, cause it's privates, but you unfortunately have two white belts that get paired up. And that's when they just hump each other for half an hour. And then one of them jumps on the other and pow. And it's like, freaking Susan's lost her ACL, and you're like, damn it, so not good for the sport. So I'm glad he was able to get rid of that time frame, get his blue belt, and now he's getting pieced up. And I told him, I was like, bro, if you're not just getting destroyed all the time, and he's like, no, I'm getting my ass handed to me. I was like, good.
It's part of the process.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's people who say you can't learn from watching other people fight are ridiculous, man. Like UFC fighters do that. They watch their opponents' fights to learn. So, I mean, that's crazy, man. I say watch it. And that's my biggest advice to anybody starting out is like, just envelop yourself in jiu-jitsu. Surround yourself with it. Watch jiu-jitsu videos 15 minutes a day or whatever. Learn some stuff, man. You never know. Because sometimes there's been times on the mat where people are like, whoa, what was that? I'm like, I don't know. I saw it on a video, it just kind of worked.
Yeah, man. The Smarty 2.0, one of my clients, Gary, has that, and a couple other cats. And that thing is freaking rad. You can really beat the living daylights out of it. And I think they're doing awesome deals, but just don't put it in a corner and forget it's there. Because when you go into somebody's house at 6 a.m. or 5:45, and it's this character sitting, it looks like a person in the corner of the garage.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, those things are cool, man.
They are cool.
And they work. They
do. Yeah, you can crank on them. There's one that Uriah Faber recently, I saw him doing at the CGI last year. It's like a not Roblox, but Roblox or something. Anyways, it's a freaking, looks like a human, has like a freaking LED, like lights for eyes. And this thing is unreal. Like you can stomp on it. It is crazy looking. But it looks awesome. Wish I knew what it was.
Crazy. Yeah, they're getting more and more realistic, man. I remember when they first came out, like they didn't bend when they were like 180 pounds.
Well, soon they're going to have suits that you and I can put on and probably do some form of like, because there's going to have, compression against, and then wrestle other people in, I don't even know what to call it, but they're probably doing this stuff now.
Yeah.
A TV show called Upload that goes over all of it is phenomenal, but I really believe it's kind of AR, VR with futuristic shit that's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt it one bit. And then all of us old guys with all the injuries, they'll be laughing at us. Like,
yeah, when it goes backwards and snaps everybody's limbs, or somebody's freaking neck gets freaking cut off because the thing didn't stop.
Yeah, there'll be a trial period.
Right. Selective unmasking, white belts.
Right. Hey, put this on.
Yeah.
So did you start no gi or did you start in the gi?
Well, originally I actually, before even I went over to Victory, I was at Marco Huas's place in Laguna Niguel doing no gi. I just didn't know what it was. They called it Vale Tudo. That's why I say I really didn't start jiu-jitsu till I was at Victory with Jocko and all Dean Lister and all those guys. I was at Marco Huas's place, and then Jeremy Williams at Apex Jiu-Jitsu in Aliso Viejo. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He committed suicide 20 years ago, maybe. And all the indications of what was going to happen. He gave me a gi bag that is like Hoist Gracie saw it once and was like, that thing's older than you. And, you know, and I was like, oh, and it's a bag, just gi material with like the original Gracie Jiu-Jitsu G on it. And, yeah, Jeremy he started giving stuff away and, ended up killing himself. You know, he was fighting in the IFL for the Condors and, that school had an interest. There's a guy named Justin Levins that I liked him too. It's sad to say because he murdered his girlfriend and then killed himself. He fought Evan Tanner in the UFC for the middleweight championship before Evan Tanner went on walkabout and, you know, died, intentionally or not, I'm not sure. But that whole time was very interesting period. I did a lot of no-gi. There's this guy named Eric Apple. I remember I trained with him. He played like that Chuck Liddell Iceman character in the one with Tom Hardy, like Fighter or Warrior. And he was in that movie and he did a great job because he was kind of like that in real life. And then he went over and fought in Strike Force in Japan. And then I came back a couple years later after a couple more deployments and he looked big and he used to really give it to me bad. And he was so cool. He was like coolest dude. And, but he seemed to make it through all of that where there were a lot of other fighters that like Nam Pham was at that school. Unfortunately, he's not, you know, you see those Nam Pham videos. Nam, I hope you're well, brother. I remember hitting him with probably the cleanest right that I've ever hit a professional fighter with. It was so clean and his headgear popped off, right? It was just a bam during sparring. And, I paid for it. This guy named Alex the Russian Crusher ended up destroying me after. I was like, I deserve that, but you know.
Yeah, we call that a check, right?
Yes. Yeah, he was he was really cool too. He just kept jab, and walking me down. And I remember Jeremy was like, Michael, you got to block. And I literally said, I am with my face. And the whole gym laughed. They were like, oh man. So I got a little bit of space with that one.
Yeah. Oh man. So I started no-gi as well, and I think it might have just been how I was taught. I don't know, but I feel like I developed some bad habits that way. So when I went and I switched to gi, it was like I was learning all over again. I was getting choked out with a gi, and I was like, wait a minute, this has never happened before. So, you know, paper cutters and lapel chokes and but now, like, I would say it's important, especially in like self-defense too. People wear hoodies. I'm in Colorado. People wear jackets out here. You can choke somebody out with a jacket. Like you were saying, you can choke somebody out with a t-shirt, man. So
absolutely. I tell my daughters, anytime a guy has a tie, all you got, if you're backed into a corner, just snatch the freaking highest part of that tie and you shove your hand down as hard as you possibly can. All you got to do is throw your freaking knee right into your hand. And as long as you smash your freaking hand through your knee, that dude's freaking whole face is going like in, like that. And then you get, you know.
But yeah. Oh yeah, man. Yeah, that's it's important. I think it's important to learn both. I know no-gi is like the thing now. Everybody wants to do no-gi. And all the cool guys are doing no-gi and all that stuff. But
it's faster and flashier, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And
there's money in it now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's cool. There's absolutely a need for it. You should be able to do both, in my opinion. So
I love that because you're right. And UFC, from what I understand, is looking at putting a ton of money into jiu-jitsu. I don't know if it's no gi or how it looks, but it's getting more attention.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it kind of exploded, right? I mean, like you were saying, UFC 1, 2, everybody was like, what was that? What just happened? So, and then it's just kind of evolved from there. But you recently, you were posting pictures and videos of you rolling with Jocko, man. What was that like? Is he as cool as everyone says?
Yeah, Jocko's awesome. He's phenomenal. I actually got I got privates from him 2007, 2008. And the then Throwdown had this package where they had like Penny Thomas, all these big names. And for a few $100, you could get like half an hour with one of them for $50 and you could just piece it out. And of course, him being Jocko, and he was like actively, before he really exploded, especially with, this is pre-podcast. I I remember he would used to say to me, Marie, give me more pressure. And I'm like, if I do that, you're going to kill me, right? Like, and he's like, no. And he was super cool. One day, though, we were in the gi, and I remember he had done this north-south choke several times than other people. And essentially, he gets me north-south, and I slip thumb in, no, fingers in. And essentially, it was a collar right there. And then I turn. And when you hit it on somebody, when a black belt goes like that, and so I saw Jocko briefly. I'm not saying I ever threatened the guy at all, but he got out of it, of course. And I remember, like, I stood up real quick, and imagine like Jocko 15 years ago, and he just goes like that. He just goes like that. Like, I was like, oh shit. Like, he takes me up against the wall, and then proceeds. I think he took me down, and then he was like, great job, man. Freaking rad. He was like, love it. He was supremely supportive, and I get a lot of my coaching style from my time spent with him, because like Dean would constantly let me just do things to him, because he knew, one, I wasn't a total prick and I wasn't going to hurt him, even as a white belt, right? But he was so confident in his abilities, like, he's going to know, even if somebody does get you, and there might be even like, you're not either, I'm not going to break his arm or anything like that. He was phenomenal at that. And so that whole crew was just rad.
Oh, man. And I'm sure he's the same way now. I mean,
totally. They're posting videos rolling like just the other day, and it's just, it was cool. That whole crew, like Miha and Ian and all those dudes, and like even Keenan was like, when I went there last, they were all great, bunch of dudes. They were cool, right? And then because I got kind of the nod to go in the black belt area and train over there, and it was just like Michael Collins, who is in Costa Rica right now doing private jiu-jitsu retreats, right? Like, great idea. Nogi Loki, he does like marketing and stuff like that, but he got his black belt from there. And so I got to go see him, a lot of other cats and dogs, and that whole crew, that whole vibe is just freaking rad.
Bad, man. Yeah, he seems like such a cool guy, and just, for somebody as talented and I guess now, famous, and he seems so humble still, which is awesome. Yeah, he just seems like a cool guy. I imagine he's an amazing coach too. Like,
he's a phenomenal role model for every American.
Oh yeah, great dude. So let's talk about Grapplapp, man. I'm excited. This is genius. Another genius idea. You got mobile jiu-jitsu, which was awesome, and now you just rolled out Grapplapp, man. So where are we at with that? What is it looking like?
So Grapplapp is a listing and matching directory service for people that, when they travel for jiu-jitsu, to find either a school or a mobile jiu-jitsu instructor like myself. What's one problem that people in our culture have whenever they go someplace, if it's for work or for on vacation, is our culture. We get on and we go to Google and we search like Chicago Jiu-Jitsu or something like that. Maybe not Chicago, but maybe a more obscure place. And like Nan's Taekwondo Academy comes up, and you're like, no, right? Or like Bob's Karate, 50 miles away, and you're like, no, right? So I essentially wanted to eliminate all that red tape by creating a marketplace, an ecosystem, and a community for people to know they can go onto this app and search. Right now we have 500 schools that are in the app, and I'm really excited because we've barely just put a drop in the bucket of what this progressive web app can do. And I'll get to that in a little bit, but essentially our goal is to own the keyword space, jiu-jitsu near me, open mat near me, or like BJJ near me. That second J is really important. So very
Totally
important,
different website.
right? So that's our goal, because we made it a progressive web app on the internet and not in the app store, because one, it costs a lot of money to do it in the app store from scratch, but there's no code tools that you can use for not too much money to actually build something that ultimately, once I proved product market fit, that I then was able to, we're kind of at MVP right now, which is the minimum viable product, to move into the next stage, which is we're now becoming the recruiting tool for any colored belt or any school across America and beyond. If they want, I think we have $1.99 like to get access so that we don't have bots, is allow yourself an opportunity to put your profile on there as a colored belt. You don't even have to have a business, but Orlando is where we're launching. And essentially any colored belt in Orlando is going to, once they get into my app, when I advertise, hey, come here when you're here in Orlando, X, Y, and Z, or we can do programs for when people actually land and they turn their phone on, right? I can get to them and they're like, whoa, Grapplapp, bing. And then all of a sudden they open it up and they see Jeremy Johnson, purple belt, 46 years old, won his local tournament 4 years ago for $65, will come to your hotel, fitness area, which I've done many times, and give you a private, right? And it's like, for the freaking dad on day 4 of Mickey Mouse, he's like, yes, right? Or like, I've gone to the Bigger Pockets convention and like stood there in the freaking lobby with my mats, dude. And people were like, what? This is brilliant. And I'm like, I know, right? And they're like, let's roll. Got some dudes to roll. So I just decided to, I decided to tech mobile jiu-jitsu. So, I could go on, but I want to let you, I know you guys have questions, dude.
But no, that's, so I feel like there's a story of how this came about. How did this one pop into your brain? Was it similar to the mobile jiu-jitsu idea?
Yes. I knew that I couldn't scale mobile jiu-jitsu. I could only grow it. And I didn't want to take 10 years to build a black belt just to hand them the keys to my car, the mobile dojo, right? Like there's no IP, there's no service, there's no SaaS, like software as a service. Did the real estate thing for a little bit, did okay, made some good investments, everything's looking good. Realized I don't want to go into that community. 48% of all fees, venture capital money goes into tech. I'm sitting on a community that essentially I can build an infinitely scalable app that could really go global. And dude, we have people in freaking Portugal and like random, like they put their open mats in here, like different countries. And so like I've got a team in the UK that we're like building the Grapple Pass, right? Like it's a rev share thing. And we're not like pre-rev. We're making money, like $3,000 a month, but we're only spending $2 million. And I'm in Dan Martell's SaaS Academy. So that's a pretty decent chunk of change, but it's worth it. Like every single penny. That community is amazing. Dan Martell is amazing. And so I just realized that when my buddy, I'm not name dropping here again, this is just the community that are my like old school, JP Donnell, I knew him in high school, we're buddies, right? And so he called me, he's like, hey man, how are you going to grow this thing? I was like, I don't plan on growing it, bro. I plan on scaling it with this thing called Grapplapp. And like, he literally was like, I could hear him like, sit back. And he was like, dude, like 3 years ago, I'm telling my brother, we should create an app where people go and like open mats. I was like, go to grapplapp.io and just install it to your mobile desktop right now. And he was like, yes. Like he is one of my biggest cheerleaders, right? Like he went and did a whole podcast on action versus words and was like, 3 years ago, I had this idea and now my Marine Jarhead buddy's freaking doing it, right? And so like, it's just one of those things, right? Like that one, I knew I got a pretty big chip on my shoulder, right? I don't know, people like, well, let's prove it. Like, yeah, I do, right? To myself, I don't want to stop striving for excellence. So I'm just trying to look at this blue ocean, which was tech, and the idea, like a problem that I have unique founder market fit. I'm a Jiu-Jitsu Black Belt, Marine Purple Heart, master's degree, and, you know, I don't mind getting on camera and saying, hi, would you like my services? You know, for the entrepreneurial aspect. Yeah. This is supremely important. I'm like, doing a podcast tonight. Damn right. Let's go. You know, mom-in-law's here. You're going in the back, mom, right?
Yeah. And well, and I think jiu-jitsu is a lot like the Marine Corps. Like, you see another Marine out and about, like, you guys fist bump. Hey, what's up? Where are we, you know? Jiu-jitsu is the same way. You see somebody wearing a Carlson Gracie hoodie or something, you're like, oh, hey, what's up? What gym you train at? And, you know, you do your secret handshake and move on. Like, you know, so
talk to each other.
Yeah. Right. So, you know, it's cool though. It's a genius idea, like, because, you know, you're going to have that jiu-jitsu support from everybody. You know, you're going to help gyms grow. You're going to help the entrepreneurs grow, and you're going to help people who just want to go and, like, get away for a minute and train, have that opportunity, you know? Genius. Genius. And, you know, I've it's happened before, travel for work and stuff, and I'm just like, man, today sucked. I'd like to go get on the mats. And then you, like you said, you look it up and you end up just going, nah, never mind, forget it. You know, like, so genius.
You don't know if the actual open mat is accurate. And then getting some dude on the phone who does not care at all about business, you know, because they put the third freaking instructor's phone number or the, you know, Brazilian's number, you know, and it's like, sorry, sometimes I don't even know what they're saying, you know?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Their websites are off and wonky, and you're like, So that's why we just make the promise, is that we're not 100% accurate, but I've had founders of other tech companies use their software and fail, and use mine and succeed.
Nice. Yeah. Huge. So are you on, like, the major mobile applications now? And
that's exactly what we're moving towards. So that's why started in the progressive web app. We host on Flutterflow, which is with Google Firebase, all that crazy stuff. And then we want, you know, I created the low overhead dojo. That was one of the reasons why mobile jiu-jitsu was something I was interested in, because you didn't have to put a commercial lease into anything, right? What black belt has $12,000 for first and month's last rent for, you know, the back half of Nan's Tavern? You know what I mean? Like, and Nan's famous tonight, right? But so I created the low overhead dojo, where essentially you get the LLC, you get a little stream of income, and now, shit, that freaking Publix run that you got with your chicken tendies, shit, now it's a write-off, right? And you can now reduce your taxable income. You can get protections on assets that you have, and as an LLC, and you're going to not get double taxed. And it really also forces you to kind of learn more about the business arena and put on that, like, all right, learning hat, because I didn't know any of this stuff. I still don't, but I know enough that I have a very good lawyer and I have a very good CPA.
So do you look at business through a jiu-jitsu lens as well? Like, I look through a jiu-jitsu lens for a lot of things, and business is one of them. Like, last year I was a white belt in business, you know, just starting it up, breaking in, getting my feet wet. And as I'm going, you know, the little things don't bother me as much. And, you know, I focus on the big picture. I'm growing Tacon 1, 2. Like, I mean, I never thought I would be where I'm at right now in you know, less than a year. So, do you look at it that way as well? I mean, or have you always had that, like, business mindset?
No, I appreciate you asking this, because it just came to me one day. I was like, I'm the black belt business builder. And so I put that as my LinkedIn header, right? And, you know, it's really, because you are right. You can make a curriculum. I think there is probably, like, black belt business stuff out there, right? I mean, shit, look at continuous process improvement. They use belt system. You know, I'm a green belt. I'm actually certified green belt in Lean Six Sigma. So I've led a rapid improvement event. It was in Hawaii. It's great. Took a terribly maintained fleet of several thousand vehicles from like 26% got it to like 98% within 6 months. The only thing that was needed was like all the dudes in the motor pool, they were working. They never had a 96, never. And the divorce rates were astronomical. And I was like, and I had just gotten sick, got out of the hospital, had some, stuff. And my regimental commander essentially was like, Michael, I have a job for you right now, but I fired the last 4 regimental motor T officers. I don't want more motor TIs. Can you go down there and just unfuck it? And he's like, yes, sir. And he said, if it's not illegal or a general officer tells you otherwise, do whatever you want. Because it was essentially dead. Like we couldn't fight the fighting wherever we needed to go with only 1 out of every 4 Humvees working. So I just went in there and I got a team from across the base together, and 2, I stopped with the nonsense. Like I made people go home. I looked at like the bins and the layettes and all that, and like we organized them. And I was like, why is that jabroni right there? He can't freaking count. Like he should be in that job. Like, and it changed everything. And all it did was Marines were happier. They worked less. They were much more efficient, and they got a lot of accolades out of it too. And that's actually where I met Dave Perret, the military millionaire. Well, I was the company commander of boot camp, and then he ended up becoming my motor T ops chief. And he was fantastic, just a great Marine. And in business, he's also a business. He's a mentor of mine. Like I follow his lead. That's why I created the Jiu-Jitsu Entrepreneurs Mastermind, because in between the Space Coast Mobile Jiu-Jitsu turned into the lead gen for Grapplapp. But while I was building Grapplapp, I needed a place to have everybody kind of hang tight. So I created the Jiu-Jitsu Entrepreneurs Mastermind every Wednesday night at 8 on Zoom. And then we have about 20 people show up, and we talk about certain things like anything small business related. And we have guests and stuff like that. You would be welcome. Shit, man, you were in there.
I was.
That's right. See, that's the cool thing is I'm just like having a community where I can bring people in like yourself that you're like, oh, okay, maybe in the future now I'll think of this dude because I've already spent an hour listening to him run his freaking suck, and then all these other dudes, right? So it's just, I call it laying the runway out, right? Laying it out. Eventually you're going to freaking get there, and so it works out.
No, yeah, I remember that. The first one you sent me, I was like, oh, I saw Jiu-Jitsu Masterclass. That's all I saw. And I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to that. So I showed up, and then, no, you guys were all like super welcoming and just spitting free, amazing advice about running a business and just maintaining yourself while running the business. And I used some of the stuff I learned in that masterclass today. Let's call a spade, man. It was, I learned a lot from just that 1 hour of like, holy crap, man, like so much. And everybody was chiming in, man. Like everybody was a part, like it was community, just like a jiu-jitsu gym or the Marine Corps, man. Like everybody was, how can we help you out? Everybody's scratching each other's back, man. It's cool. Very cool thing to be a part of. And another genius idea from you, just let's get a bunch of good thinkers together and come up with some ideas,
Thanks, man. It was largely just playing off of like what I see other people doing and they're having success, being a nice, polite dude, standing up for myself, right? And being unapologetically me. That's really been something that I've been like, yeah, I'm freaking finding my voice, and people take it or leave it. And I freaking love it because my wife is awesome. Genuinely get along with her. Like she's cool. 2 daughters, great, then my students, my clients, all the people in this area, like I'm routinely blessed. A lot of it comes on the heels of being genuinely, I don't want to use the F word, but like boofed, like woof. So I feel like that's why on Instagram I'm much more palatable, right? But on LinkedIn, plus I had all those old farts on there that were like, I don't even want to be associated with them. So I just started freaking put my head down and start throwing haymakers, and it cooled the herd. So now, like, literally when anything that I put out, the people generally like, all right, yeah, this dude's cool. And so now my audience will largely be just organic. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's that unfortunate thing with business, right? You're not going to make everybody happy. It's no matter how hard you try, someone's going to be upset about something, and you just can't trouble yourself with those kind of people.
And I do try and turn things around and look at it like from a different lens too. Like the constant growth thing is really important to me. That's why I'm in a lot of, different, like multiple masterminds, right? And I'm in a coaching program, the entire entrepreneur system as well, with Tony Bertaccio. He's a great dude. He's really helping me also with the messaging aspect, because there's a lot going on, right? People are like, wait, jiu-jitsu, wait, tech, wait, mastermind, like, what are you? And I'm like, well, this is how it works. And then they're just like, blink, 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 and they only listen to me because they're like, this dude's freaking out there, right? They just want to, but for the most part, when you look at it strategically as a entrepreneur, as a businessman, it really does make sense. And it's vertically integrated. I have things like I'm going to create the mobile jiu-jitsu cohort. It's going to be much more of a high ticket program. A high ticket, I don't know what that means, but because over time, like, it's hard balancing the remaining humble aspect with my value is increasing. I know it, I feel it, and I can't maintain this capacity that I was at. But I don't want to hurt people's feelings by being like, hey, I'm really trying to get up here and you want me to get up there, right? And that's one of the big things right now I'm finding out the ones that really want me to get there and the ones that don't. And that's cool. That's totally cool, because that's just a lighter pack for me. And then I get a bigger pack as I get here, right? And then as I continue to like escalate, I live on the Space Coast. I watch rockets go up all the time. So I'm constantly like using that, metaphor, euphemism, whatever it is, because I believe in it. Like, I feel like Grapplapp is a freaking rocket, and it's strapped with some really good shit, basically a lot of good people. And there's so many ways for people to be making money off of this as well. And not even for me. I look at it as an opportunity to people want to talk about jiu-jitsu. And now, like, Tacon, Grapplapp, like, I really think these things are being said, they're put out there, building relationships, and then ultimately, like, if a time comes for an opportunity to make real quiche, then yeah, a lot of that runway, that groundwork has been laid. Like, yeah, I've known that guy for a couple of years. He was on my podcast a couple of years ago, and he seems to be pretty decent. If anybody's like, what do you think about this guy? We got X, Y, and Z about him or something like that, So that's why, again, I'm again grateful that you asked me to be on, man.
Well, it makes sense.
I could talk forever, but I know you have a family, and
no, it made perfect sense, man. And like I said, you're one of the guys that when I wake up and I not feeling it, and then I go on LinkedIn and I see you, and you're just happy as can be, just grinding away. And I was like, this dude was just online like 3 hours ago. Like, what? Does he sleep or what?
no.
So, I mean, and I feel it, man. Like, man, like owning and running, operating a business is not as easy as everyone thinks it is, and it can chew you up and spit you out if you're not ready for it. And I have to have. I'm competitive in nature, so I look at people like you, and I'm like, well, I'm getting out of bed. I'm gonna dig in and let's see what we can do today. So, and you're exactly right. When it, sometimes that journey is going to lighten your pack, whether you like it or not, and it's for your own growth. So don't take it personal, right? I mean, the people who want you to succeed are still going to be there once you get there. So,
and I really want myself to succeed, and I'm going to still be here. That again, the reason I'm such a proponent for entrepreneurship is because I've had so many friends decide to take their own life, veterans. And I'm like, you didn't have to do that. And it's always between like the period of 5 and 10 or on the weekend. And it's, you know, beers deep or some shit like that. And it's just like, dude, you could have had this, you have a gift that is inside of you. You don't even know it. Why not use that period, still have your job, but use that period for goodness and growth, to build something, to be a creator, to be an innovator, and just to be, you know, to stick around. But instead, dudes opt for drinking or doing unhealthy things. And that's why, you know, marijuana, I'm a proponent of. I don't know if many other people are, but I've never smoked a joint and thought, I'm going to go hang myself, right? Yeah. It's just Marines want to be on, they love their booze so much. And I'm like, get off the booze, get off the SSRIs, you know, if you need to use them, allow it to turn the volume down, build a bridge with your therapist, tackle that period where your chemicals, like the connections are firing, things are starting to make sense. And then probably as you start to experience some sort of dysfunction, like sleepiness in the afternoon or erectile dysfunction at about 10 to 12 weeks of an SSRI, you get off of it. And then you've effectively used it, and now you've timed it with a psychiatrist who you guys pointedly attacked something and then had an end goal and then broke contact from it. And now you're like, cool, I'm freaking level. I'm steady, you know, and then, but we don't do that. And Marines just want to self-medicate with booze. So I love entrepreneurship, man, because I know for the hours that my friends used to drink, the ones that destroyed themselves, that I am trying to put goodness back into the world through something that I know really well, jiu-jitsu and entrepreneurship, at least so far. And I'm not going to freaking off myself because it's not even a consideration anymore, right? Yeah. I was 5150, bro, fucking involuntarily hospitalized against my will. And kind of hops in the house, fucking all that shit. Ambulances, it was not good. And this is coming from a dude who was in a padded cell, all right? Shit gets better. It gets better. Just stick the fuck around. And if you need help with the business, just send me a line. Because I'm more than likely up around 2 o'clock in the morning skateboarding, right? That's all I do all night is I skateboard, work on my chat, do my book stuff, XYZ, come up with my reels like you're saying, like, shit, this guy. And that's kind of part of it is posting at all of the non-freaking times, all the other freaking windbags on LinkedIn or freaking, you know, platitude, fucking, you know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. There's a lot of fluff. And I'm like, if you guys were really as busy as you are, it'd be different.
Give value, put shit out there, maybe plug yourself from time to time. Not like that. But then and then I don't know if you're into that, whatever. Dude, man, I'm here at your service, and but it's an hour and 10 minutes, so I don't want to keep you on for too long, man.
No, absolutely. Before we sign out here, where do people go? How do they find Grapplapp, man?
Instagram is by far the best way to reach out to me at Space Coast Mobile Jiu-Jitsu. I also have Instagram at grapplapp.io, and that's no E, so just grapplapp.io. You can reach out to me there, but Space Coast Mobile Jiu-Jitsu, that's my like hub, and then from there is kind of the wellspring of everything else. Or LinkedIn, shoot me a DM, find me. You're gonna be like, whoa, that's same dude, just kind of different voices, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be looking forward to it, man. I know this is going to take off and you're going to be extremely successful. This is a genius idea. It's going to explode. And one day I'm going to be like, oh man, I talked to that guy before he was big and famous and too busy.
Dude, I'm not changing my number. It's going to stay the same. So
awesome. Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure, man. And thank you so much for everything you're doing, and keep up the hard work. Like I know I can't be the only one who's watching you and going like, dang, this dude is grinding. This dude is just putting in the work. So, people are watching, and, like I said, I'll be bragging one day like, oh, I know that guy.
Hell yeah.
So
Thank you, bro. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about Grapplapp, my experience and all that. And yeah, hopefully there's a vet out there that rethinks, listening to that itty bitty shitty committee, right? You can open up the door, you can pull the car over, kick the person out, get out, or hug that person, right? Whatever. But it's not you. You can stick around for one more day.
that's it, man. Yeah. It like you said, it turns around. It gets better. Better. Just invest in yourself. That's it. But thanks, man. I appreciate it. And we'll stay in touch for sure. So
You got it, brother.
talk soon, man.
All right. Bye.